I am Esteban Parra and I am presenting a work done in collaboration with Ashley Ellis and Dr. Sonia Haiduc at Florida State University. We are presenting GitterCom, a dataset of open source developer communications in the Gitter instant messaging platform. Nowadays, developers have started using instant messaging communication platforms to communicate with the development teams and to better coordinate projects. A recent study by Kaffer et al. Found that Gitter is the most popular instant messaging platform used by open source development teams. However, current research has focused on the proprietary counterpart Slack despite the popularity and broad use of Gitter in open source communities. To start, as a first step towards bridging this gap, we present GitterCom. This is a dataset that contains a set of 10,000 Gitter messages collected from 10 Gitter open communities associated with the development of open source software. Each of the messages in the dataset have been annotated with the purpose of the message as annotated by the categories identified in a previous study by Lin et al. The 10 systems or communities used in our dataset range in application domains from automated testing, video game development, image processing, among others. Each of the messages in our dataset have been labeled with the purpose of the communication expressed in the message, given by the categories identified by Lin et al. During a survey with developers. In particular, each one of the messages in our dataset will not only contain the message itself, but also the purpose category. It can be a personal benefit, team-wide purpose, or community support, as well as a more grained, labeled, identifying more fine-grained information about the purpose. If it is a message that is talking about helping a customer with a problem or a bug that they may be encountering on their system, or whether it is a DevOps message which is conveying information about our upcoming release of the system. For creating the dataset, we first gathered the Gitter communities that were existing on the Explorer interface of the Gitter platform as of April 1st, 2019. This resulted in 139 channels and over 2 million messages. Out of these, we extracted a sample of 10 channels that had a broad community and were associated with active open source systems at the time. For each one of the systems, we had two annotators. Then for each message, an annotator will reference the categories expressed by Lin et al. In their previous work. We were open to creating new categories if we found that a message did not fit into any of these categories, but this was not the case for the messages that we explored. Then an annotator will label each message, and then a second annotator will cross-check the labeled, and if there was any conflict between the two annotators, they will get together to solve that conflict until we had 1,000 messages for each system that had been annotated with the purpose, label, and category. After this, we resulted in our dataset, which we decided to call GitterCom. GitterCom is the first dataset that contains actual communications from open source systems. So the first thing that this dataset can be used for is to perform larger scale replications of existing studies, which have been performed in smaller datasets. So some of the studies on instant messaging communications have focused on analyzing developer communications in small student projects. Now, having this large amount of data from open source systems, we can perform larger replications to find additional information that might not have been present in these small scale studies. We can also analyze and understand patterns in how the developers communicate using instant messaging platforms, how they communicate with each other. Maybe there's a difference between how developers communicate when they're talking to customers through instant messaging platforms, and so on. A last way that we can see this dataset being useful is for training machine learning applications that exploit this dataset to provide additional support for the developers in their software engineering tasks on their daily work. I'm here for any questions. Thank you.